Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We offer stories of infidelity, betrayal, and redemption. Please like and subscribe if you are enjoying what you are hearing. Now, on to today's story. Online Journal Day 9. Updates on my wife. Other Doug, not Buff Doug, has been monitoring things back home for me, and his brother, who works in security solutions, whatever that means, has been going through some stuff for me. Other Doug has been finding this situation a little too interesting. He's a little too enthused to be snooping in my business, but he has shown himself to be a good and loyal friend, so I won't begrudge him his eccentricities here. He's the type of guy who is always watching Investigation Discovery and all that. First things first. Doug's been watching the house and says Amy has been by every day. She tried to get in the first day, but now just sits on the porch crying. She knows I'm not in town, but apparently keeps slipping things in the mailbox. Doug asks if I want him to get them, but I'm not sure I want to. Doug's job isn't really to watch my wife. As some of you guys suggested, I hired a pie to do that. Doug's eyes were supposed to be on my house and Mimi. This of course is where some new info comes to light. He didn't want to tell me how, but he got both Mimi and Buff Doug's Discord passwords. I eventually found out that he and his brother got into their Discord and found a file that said passwords that has a lot of sensitive information. I am contemplating contact Mimi, though I'm upset with her and telling her how ducking stupid that is. But that would incriminate me. He got access to everything. Other Doug went through them, but says there are no more of my wife than was originally shown. He's been going through their history, and apparently you can roll back deletion and stuff for a while. I don't use Dropbox. I don't have any true knowledge of the service, so some of what he said didn't make sense. The more important stuff, to me anyway, is conversations between Buff Doug and Mimi on Discord. Apparently Buff Doug is really angry at Mimi, because he only knew about the last 3 videos, and that it started out with Mimi filming my wife and that there were supposed to be gifts for me, but Amy then admitted they were for herself, so she could look at them and indeed feel sexy. The streaming was apparently only in the last 5 videos. Turns out Buff Doug did lie about something to me. He not only wasn't aware of all of the videos or how long it was going on, but he lied when he said he just took my wife at her word when she said I knew. Apparently he'd been asking Mimi about it, who lied to him, but he didn't believe her. He is worried that Mimi was private streaming too and has been on her about that. The two have been arguing, and he even said, "Now this man thinks I ducked his wife." Buff Doug and Mimi are now having trust issues, and he has been asking if anything more happened between them that isn't on video. She says no, and that she would ask, cause like me, she doesn't think Buff Doug would have a problem with it, but he's like only if he'd known and thought about it. He thinks that she is capable of anything and doesn't know what's honest and what's not. Through conversations between Mimi and Amy, Mimi switches from being supportive to being accusatory or blaming Amy. Apparently in the beginning the idea was to make something fun for me for my birthday, something Mimi did not ask Buff Doug's permission for. All the first videos were Amy solo with Mimi filming and stuff. After actually looking at the whole videos, I'll admit, I just skimmed through the timeline to see what was on it. I didn't watch them. In most of the solo videos both Amy and Mimi are indeed talking to the camera as if addressing me. The thing is, when Amy escalated, Mimi began asking about permissions and whether or not I knew. Amy originally lied to her before the first one and then told her a different story with the second. Apparently those videos were mostly for herself. She was comparing herself to Mimi, whom she admitted she always felt jealous of. Mimi switched to support and they started talking about their insecurities and issues. This is why I'm writing this. So there's a lot of details that were there, but most important to me is what my wife said about her self-confidence and stuff. So originally I was friends with her sister and wanted to date Clarissa, who I shared classes with, but Clarissa didn't date bigger guys. I was a 285 pounds lineman at the time. Me and Clarissa were still cool, though she dated some skinny tall Latin dude from the basketball team. I met Amy at a party his friend group was having, and Amy had taken a shine to me. I didn't know that at the time, cause I was hung up on Clarissa and my ex, this Asian girl named Dawn. When Dawn ended up going to a room with some guy I hated and Clarissa went off with her boyfriend, I started drinking and feeling pretty sorry for myself. That's when I first met Amy and Mimi. I'll admit, I didn't know Amy was Clarissa's sister. I will also admit that Mimi, who I was flirting with, it wasn't because I didn't think Amy was cute, though she was a bigger girl, she was just all quiet and didn't really say much, and Mimi was the talker. A few drinks in and Mimi was off with someone else, another friend, and I was left with Amy, whom I didn't think much of cause she didn't talk much. We ended up playing video games, when she kinda opened up. She pointed out how the guys always liked Mimi and her sister and all that, and none of the guys wanted to talk to her. I was drunk, so I kinda just said that was nonsense and she was really pretty, which she is, just a bigger girl. I know I made a joke about skinny girls being a worse lay because they think all they have to do is just lay there, and that we big people work for hours. It was funny, I swear it, but I just don't remember the delivery. Either way, Amy basically got a little more open and forward at that point, and we ended up doing something that night. Between Mimi and Amy never forgot this and remembers this night differently. Like I took pity on her and gave her a mercy lay. And then she thinks she just kept showing up and I didn't have the heart to tell her off and that she was just easy pussy, and we didn't really start dating until a pregnancy scare. First off, that's not ducking how it happened. Secondly, yeah, in the beginning it was just sex. I didn't know Amy and she didn't really open up and only came over for sex. We officially started dating long before the pregnancy scare thing, after I had talked to some of my boys about her. Everyone knew I liked Clarissa, and she didn't want to give me the time of day. They were being really rude, like I settled for the fat sister and I wanted to check that shit before it got back to Amy. I didn't settle for anyone. The truth is, the most attractive thing about a woman is her love for me or willingness to be with me. I really don't give a shit about these auxiliary bitches, no matter how comparatively hot they may be. It's just about who wants me. Apparently some things were said, and others I said were misconstrued, and Amy has felt our entire relationship that I settled for her. And that I always thought I was better or could do better. There's a lot she talked about with my parents. Worse, she compares herself to Dawn, whom she still thinks I pine for because I kept a jacket that Dawn gave me. This was a $500 bomber jacket, something I'd wanted my entire life. No, I was not going to throw it away just cause Dawn gave it to me. I still wear that jacket, it's still amazing and warm. Not because I secretly miss being with Dawn. Also, I find that she's got a problem with my sister. Which doesn't surprise me. My sister is so beautiful, even though I have to admit that Danny, according to her, would always want her to work out with her, or give her eating tips, or beauty tips whenever they visited. She said she never insulted her or was specifically mean, but Danny didn't invite anyone else to exercise with her or try the new vegan restaurants. She said she felt beautiful for the first time, and it wasn't just cause someone felt sorry for her. She said the strangers didn't know her and she could disengage from them anytime she wanted. And she also said she didn't mean to hurt anyone, she just felt pretty for the first time in her life, really wanted. Like she wasn't just an afterthought. Mimi asked her about the private fan and Amy has denied wanting to do more. Mimi flat out accused her working her way up to cheating, and says she warned Amy about private streams. She also blames Amy because Buff Doug now doesn't believe that she doesn't private stream, because he thinks Amy got the idea from somewhere. Amy denied building up any emotional attachment, or wanting to duck the guy at any price, she just said she liked the attention. how it made her feel. Surprisingly, Mimi was really blunt with her, telling her shit like that's how it starts, and folks always say that before it's too late. Their conversations the past week have been round and around about this and how Buff Doug has told her that if our relationship is to mend, Mimi might need to give up her friend, which both of them say they refuse to do. Now I'm a bit torn. Cause I thought some of this shit, a lot of this shit was all in the past. They even talked about the time my guy Hui flat out called her the consolation prize. This was like 7 years ago in college. And I totally checked his ass. I feel like I didn't notice a lot of things and that I took it for granted that she wasn't threatened by a lot of things and I was managing her insecurities well. I mean, I always showed her love and support and encouraged her to be herself. I never asked her to lose weight for me. I didn't think it was this big a deal. She also apparently scared shitless every time I'm around Clarissa, and Clarissa is single. Like I''M.M.A. Duck her sister or trade up. If we're being honest, Clarissa is only fitter than Amy. Amy is incredibly pretty, freckles, auburn hair, green eyes. And to be honest, I like her look now, but I had no problem with my BBW wife. Why is this such a thing and why is this how she dealt with it? How does showing your ass to strangers make you feel empowered? I don't get that. Someone explain that. In fact, don't judge her, just give me a perspective where that makes sense. Where showing yourself nude to others makes you feel better about yourself, cause I honestly can't wrap my ducking head around it. I'm a lot confused by the new info. I really am. None of this seems real. It all seems so damn childish and ridiculous. Why the hell could she not talk to me? I have asked, literally asked about this shit over the years. I have asked what I can do to be a better man. I have asked about her needs and wants. Not a day has gone by that I didn't tell her she was beautiful to me, that I loved her, that she was the best thing in my life. How does she still somehow feel like none of that's true? The duck. Some make this make sense. Online Journal Day 10. Communication let me down. My wife called today. Nothing new, she calls every day. Always leaving messages I don't listen to. She called twice, and I actually picked up on the second time. She sounded surprised. Before she spoke I told her not to talk, just to listen. I need time to get my head around all of it. I told her that what she did with Mimi was cheating. What she did in front of Doug was cheating. I told her sharing the intimate side of herself with others without my knowledge was cheating. I deserve to know her plans and make my own decisions about them. I am not mad at what she and Mimi did together. I'm upset at why and how. I told her that I believed that she did what she did to patch up a hole she decided I could not fill, and that alone is a reason for divorce. I told her she carried her pain and insecurity and needs someone else other than me to fill it. That there is doubt, there always was doubt, and that there will now always be doubt. I said, the truth is I cannot trust you. Not because you lied to hide your illicit activities. Not because you betrayed my trust or the sanctity of our relationship. The truth is knowing more about the situation calls into question your love for me at all. I have to ask, and maybe will still ask now, is this relationship a sham? I told her that she may want to talk about how she feels about herself. About some of the things I've been hearing from others about her insecurities about me and her weight. How she thought that maybe she was just a mercy lay, and that maybe I just felt pity for her or whatever. Whatever she told herself in her head to bring herself down and in the mindset where this was a good idea. But I asked, where does that leave me? You've shared that anxiety and insecurity with me. Now I have to ask, were you only with me cause you thought I was the best you were going to get? Did you only pursue me because you thought you were too unattractive or fat to get anyone else? Was I just the first guy to give you that kind of attention and you just rolled with it? Maybe the doubts you have in me are a projection of the doubts you have in yourself. I went on by saying maybe I'm not the one who feels they settled. Certainly seems like the first chance you got to. I told her very bluntly that she is the one who, when circumstances changed, immediately turned into a different person. Maybe her personality was conditional. Maybe that dog didn't bite because he ain't got no teeth, not because he doesn't want to bite. As the metaphor goes, she got teeth, and immediately began biting. I told her to take Mimi out of the equation. What you did with her, how physical or not physical it was. Whether or not they touched or grinded or anything. Delete it. Let's say you ucked Mimi and I don't have a single goddamn problem with that other than you doing it behind my back and lying about it. Let's take that out of the equation so it's not a part of the excuse package. You shared your body and intimacy with strangers and Doug. That is a betrayal. You lied about it. You hid things. You let a single stranger form an emotional relationship with you. You were getting off on it and you were escalating to something. Maybe 5,000 wouldn't have done it. But I guarantee the diminishing returns would. How long would it be till just saying you are pretty, you hot, and watching you instead of whatever other woman you think is hotter than you became not enough to make you feel better? What would you do? What would she be capable of chasing that high? But to be honest, beyond anything else, you've proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that nothing I do can satisfy what you think you're missing, and she may fear and regret the upending of familiarity, the life she knows right now, but what about later? What about when the insecurities set in again? And I get it. When I said I loved you. When I said you're pretty, she never believed me. She doubted and she couldn't live with those doubts and they drove her to this. Well, I have my doubts. When she says she loves me now, does she really? Or am I just the one guy that gave her a chance and now that she's got confidence she wants to find someone else? I told her fair would be listening to her. But I don't feel like being fair right now, because all she can feel is the pain of losing her solid ground. The idea of stability washing away. Is any of this sadness really for me, or is it just the loss of what's familiar? I told her I didn't know, but that she needs to figure all that shit out before she speaks to me again. I told her she can call me back in a week or so. I told her I already spoke to a divorce attorney and that I'm operating under the assumption that it was over the second she decided this was more important than what we built. I told her that I'm taking time to find reasons to believe this isn't the case and they ain't easy to come by. I told her I don't know what I wanted from her other than time to make my decision, but she also needs to make hers. I told her she can be whoever it is she thought she should have been all these years and I wouldn't stand in her way. I then hung up and turned off my phone. I'm still crying, it still hurts. But this is how it's got to be for now. I do love this woman still. It's so strong it makes my damn heart hurt. But crackhead loves heroin, and it doesn't mean it's good for him. So I got to weigh my options. This will be my first day of therapy Thursday. I will try to talk to her again after a while. Best I can promise. Online journal day 11. After the morning after. So therapy was not what I was expecting. We talked for an hour, or rather, I answered questions for a little bit. Then talked, then answered questions and then talked. The therapist didn't say much of anything. We didn't talk about my issue with my wife, though I brought it up a couple of times. I'm a little annoyed by it, but I guess she wants to focus on getting to know me. I'm not sure. Therapy session 1 has left me frustrated cause I didn't really get to talk about what I wanted or vent. I assume there's a process and we will eventually get to it. But right now, I'm not too happy. Back home is weird. Brianna's back with her mom. London is back with her boyfriend. I met him, he's like every douchebag in old Navy commercials. Uncle Brad is up at his lake house in like Lino or around there. I'm not sure, don't fish, never been up there. Mom and Dad are normal, the only thing that isn't normal is Paris. Paris is still at our house. Paris has been hanging around since the other day. In fact, that's how I met douchebag Chad. London had come to pick up Paris and Paris had told her that she would be staying for a while. She didn't want to go home cause Brianna and Aunt Joyce aren't too happy with her, and she didn't want to go with London because of douchebag Chad, who is apparently making inappropriate twin jokes. London and her got into it and Paris was apparently expected to fall in line. I wanted Paris out of my space. She's been around off and on for 5 days and I'm just not mentally in a position to deal with her. I have been both subtle and unsubtle about my displeasure with her presence, but she hasn't left. She also hasn't done anything to be asked to leave and keeps saying things like I know I'm not your favorite person right now, but I just want to hang out here. Saying life is a mess back with her fam, but I'm very quick to point out whose fault that is. I'd absolutely love for her to try to argue that point, but she just shuts up and goes to another portion of the house. But like a cat you keep shooing away, she inevitably comes back and I eventually grow tired and just try to ignore her. Today I was frustrated about the therapy, and probably about my wife, but mostly because I didn't get to vent, so I went home expecting to give this woman a piece of my mind. Instead I heard her in the den arguing with her sister. I have never heard those two argue. They're usually like the creepy twins from Simpsons. I asked my mom why she doesn't just throw them out, but she says they haven't done anything and London is just picking up Paris. Douchebag Chad was made to wait outside, ever so often he would hunk his displeasure. He parked his fugly ass Sonata right in the driveway. I had to ask him to move off to the street. Who the hell pulls in someone's driveway to wait? I asked London several times to check her man, cause every blare of his horn sends the dog into a frenzy, but she was her regular bitchy self. I was rude, intentionally, when I asked if they could have this conversation out of the house. I ain't gonna lie, I don't even pretend I want London in my home. Paris is bad enough, like a grotesque tumor that's only aesthetically bad. London has full-fledged cancer. But now she's been really rude and a bitch to Paris and I for a second am torn between loving to see her turn that venom on Paris, who always was a follower, to just despising London and wanted to snap at somebody, so London got all of my anger. I basically ripped into her, let her know how I felt and how she is and why nobody likes her ass. Like seriously, if you weren't pretty people would cunt punch you every day all day for the rest of your life, cause you're such an unbelievable bitch. Told her I didn't know why she thought she was better than herself when all she was weekend pussy, going through guys as fast as it takes to max out her credit cards, can't keep a man, terrible in school, no job, no future, and no prospects, and I can't wait for the day her looks fade and she's as ugly on the outside as she is on the inside, and that if there was any justice in their world her mom would have took that shot to the mouth and spit it out cause she's not worth a swallow. This is an abridged version of my tirade sans all the extra personal shit. Then I told her to leave my damn house and I told Paris if she had a problem with anything I said she can leave with her sister. I went and made myself a dirty desert pear lemonade, cause I was so pissed. I thought I'd feel better telling her off, but I was just really pissed. Went downstairs and just drank in silence, petting my dog for a while. Then Paris came downstairs. Apparently London left without her and she didn't want to sit upstairs alone. She asked if she could have some of my drink, the desert pear sauce and all that are mine. I told her no and she told me that was fair. We sat in silence for a while and she asked me if I hated her. I told her I'm not particularly fond of women right now. Which was a little more than I wanted to say. I don't want her in my business. She didn't say anything but then asked if I was going to play bot. Which I of course was. She asked if I minded if she watched. Which I was honest, I kind of did. But she asked if she could stay anyway, so I let her, cause I'm just too tired to push the point. Played the game for hours, ordered Chinese for dinner, and we didn't speak to each other for the rest of the night. Mom and Dad came home late, so I didn't get to talk to them, and the day was otherwise uneventful, just me trying to beat this cheating ass Eventine Island. I been there all day. They kick you off the island when you die and you got to try it again. So that's consuming my time. Paris went to sleep on the couch again, and we didn't speak. I kind of feel bad. Because I'd be more cordial with her normally, but right now I got zero ducks to give about their feelings, and I've warned people not to make themselves an outlet for my anger. No one listens to me. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Have an awesome day or night. Wherever you are.